He could do things on a basketball court that seemed impossible, passes that no one else could see, shots that seemed to defy physics. Every time Magic Johnson stepped onto the hardwood, the game transformed. It wasn't just basketball, it was a performance, a dance, a statement. Fans called him Magic long before he became a household name, and every time he touched the ball, it felt like the world was witnessing something extraordinary. But the truth is, the nickname wasn't just about his talent. It was about the way he could make impossible things happen, the way he carried hope in every dribble and vision in every glance. Yet, for all the trophies, the championship rings, and the standing ovations, the real story of Magic Johnson wasn't written in the record books. It was written in the quiet moments, the ones no camera could capture, the moments where strength was measured not in points or rebounds, but in courage, in resilience, in the ability to face life's unthinkable challenges. Before the lights, before the fame, before the roaring crowds of Los Angeles, there was a boy in Lansing, Michigan, growing up in a modest home in Lansing, Michigan. Born in 1959 to Irvin Sr. and Christine Johnson, Magic's life seemed ordinary on the surface. His father worked long hours at a local plant, instilling discipline and a tireless work ethic in his children. His mother managed the home with a quiet strength, ensuring that, despite financial limitations, her children felt loved, safe, and inspired to dream. But even in these early years, there was something different about Irvin, something that set him apart from the other boys playing basketball on the cracked asphalt courts near his neighborhood.
From the very beginning, Irvin was obsessed with the game. He didn't just play, he absorbed it, studied it, and made it his own. Hours passed as he dribbled against invisible defenders, imagined packed arenas, and visualized impossible passes that no one else seemed to see. Even at 7 or 8 years old, neighbors would pause to watch him move with a fluidity that seemed unnatural. The ball didn't just bounce in his hands, it obeyed him. And it was in these quiet, unobserved moments that the foundation of Magic's brilliance was laid. Magic wasn't the tallest boy on the block, nor the fastest. What set him apart was his mind. His imagination transformed the ordinary into extraordinary. While others practiced shots and plays, Irvin imagined entire games, anticipating every move before it happened. He had a vision of basketball that extended beyond scoring points or winning games. He saw strategy, timing, and teamwork as a symphony, and he wanted to conduct it. Little did he know, that vision would one day mesmerize millions and redefine the sport forever. School and neighborhood courts became his playground and his laboratory. At Everett High School, Magic quickly earned a reputation not just for talent, but for leadership. Coaches recognized something rare: a boy who could command attention without raising his voice, who could lift the spirits of a team simply by believing in them. Teammates described him as magnetic, someone who drew out the best in everyone around him. And with every game, with every practice, Irvin's confidence grew. But even as he rose, life around him was a mixture of joy and challenge. The Johnson household wasn't perfect. Like many families, they faced financial strains, disagreements, and moments of doubt. Irvin Sr., a disciplinarian with a commanding presence, demanded respect and effort. Yet beneath that strict exterior was a deep love and belief in his son's potential. Christine, gentle but resolute, nurtured Magic's dreams, offering comfort and encouragement when the weight of expectation became heavy. It was this balance, discipline and support, challenge and encouragement, that molded the young boy into a man capable of extraordinary things. Magic's nickname, the one that would follow him for the rest of his life, came at a surprisingly young age. It wasn't given by a coach, a teammate, or a sports writer. It came from pure astonishment. A local sports writer covering high school basketball in Lansing described a game where Irvin seemed to defy gravity and logic, delivering passes that left opponents and fans alike shaking their heads. "That boy, he's pure magic," the reporter said. And just like that, a legend was born. Even with the nickname, Magic remained grounded. He knew that talent alone was fleeting. It had to be paired with hard work, focus, and humility. He spent hours studying every move of the professional players he admired on television, replaying games in his mind, learning not just what to do with the ball, but how to think like a champion. He was fascinated by the way strategy could turn a seemingly hopeless situation into victory. And in those early days, Magic developed the qualities that would define him forever: vision, creativity, unselfishness, and a resilience that would later be tested in ways no one could anticipate.
But childhood wasn't all practice and games. Magic had friends, mischief, and moments of carefree joy. He loved basketball, yes, but he also loved the simple pleasures of growing up, riding bikes through the streets of Lansing, sneaking into local diners for a snack, laughing late into the night with friends. These moments grounded him, reminding him that life wasn't just about achievement. It was about connection, laughter, and the small victories that shape character. Even as he excelled on the court, there were moments of doubt. Teachers, peers, and even other players sometimes underestimated him. A young boy from Lansing, no taller than most of his classmates, trying to make a name for himself in a competitive world. It wasn't easy, but Magic thrived on these doubts, letting them fuel his determination rather than diminish it. Every whisper of skepticism, every skeptical glance became a spark, igniting a fire that would eventually burn brighter than any arena spotlight. By the time he reached his teenage years, Magic Johnson was no longer just a talented boy from Lansing. He was a phenomenon in the making. Scouts began to notice him, not just for his talent, but for the intangible qualities that set him apart: leadership, vision, charisma, and the uncanny ability to anticipate the flow of the game before it happened. He wasn't just practicing basketball, he was perfecting an art form, creating a style that would later be known worldwide as Showtime. And yet, even in these early days of promise, life had a way of testing him. The path to greatness is rarely smooth, and Magic faced obstacles that would have made others falter. Family pressures, the expectations of a city, the intensity of competition, all of it weighed on him. But Magic had already learned the first lesson that would define his life. True strength isn't always visible. Sometimes it's quiet, internal, and revealed in the choices you make when no one is watching. As he prepared to leave Lansing for Michigan State University, the world outside still had no idea who this boy would become. But Irvin Magic Johnson had already begun to change the game, in his mind, in his heart, and in every movement on a basketball court. And what happened next, at the intersection of talent, ambition, and destiny, would turn that quiet Magic into a legend that no one would ever forget. He thought he knew what challenges lay ahead, but the world had bigger tests in store, ones that would redefine what it meant to be strong, on and off the court. Magic Johnson was about to leave Lansing, stepping into a college world that would introduce him to new rivalries, a national stage, and the first glimpse of the immense pressure that comes with fame. And one game in particular would change everything. By the mid-1970s, Magic Johnson was no longer just a talented boy from Lansing. He was becoming a force impossible to ignore. His high school years at Everett High School transformed him from a local wonder into a player with national attention. Every dribble, every pass, every jump shot seemed to carry not just skill, but an energy that inspired his teammates and captivated crowds. Magic had learned early that talent alone would not be enough to shape a legend. It required vision, timing, and the ability to lift others alongside him. And in those high school gyms, he began to practice that philosophy in earnest.
Magic's presence on the court was magnetic. He wasn't the tallest or the fastest player in Michigan, but his court vision was unmatched. He could see openings before they existed, anticipate plays before they formed, and orchestrate a game with the precision of a maestro. Coaches quickly realized that he was not just a player, he was a leader, someone whose understanding of the game transcended ordinary comprehension. Under his guidance, Everett High School soared.
Magic led the team to multiple state championships, thrilling crowds with a style that felt alive, vibrant, and entirely new. But his rise wasn't without challenges. The spotlight brought pressure, expectations, and the kind of scrutiny that could crush a teenager. Magic faced skeptics, those who doubted a boy from Lansing could compete at the national level, those who questioned whether his flamboyant style could translate into real victories. Yet, rather than letting doubt discourage him, Magic used it as fuel. Every criticism became motivation, every challenge an opportunity to prove not just his talent, but his determination, his intelligence, and his capacity to inspire. High school basketball was just the beginning. By the time college scouts arrived in Lansing, Magic Johnson had already become a legend among those who had watched him grow. Offers from top programs rolled in, but it was Michigan State University that captured his heart. Here was a school that believed in his vision, that offered a stage large enough to match his talent, and a coach willing to let him shape the team in his own image. Magic accepted, stepping into a world that was simultaneously exciting and intimidating, a world where the stakes were higher, the competition fiercer, and the spotlight brighter. At Michigan State, Magic Johnson didn't just continue his dominance, he evolved it. He transformed from a high school prodigy into a national sensation, a player who redefined what college basketball could look like. His passing was no longer just effective, it was revolutionary. His leadership was no longer just inspiring, it was commanding. Magic wasn't content with being the best player on the court. He wanted to change the very way basketball was played, to elevate every teammate, to create moments of wonder that fans would remember forever. And then came the defining moment that would place him in the national consciousness. The 1979 NCAA championship game against Indiana State, led by none other than Larry Bird. It was more than a game. It was a clash of styles, personalities, and legacies in the making. Bird, meticulous and calculating, embodied precision and discipline. Magic, expansive and electric, embodied imagination and energy. The contrast couldn't have been more dramatic, and yet it was this tension that would make the game unforgettable. The championship game itself was electric, every possession charged with drama. Magic's vision and leadership shone through, orchestrating plays that left spectators in awe. Yet what truly set him apart was not just his ability to score or pass, but the way he carried the game itself. He elevated every teammate, made the impossible routine, and turned pressure into performance. That night, Magic Johnson didn't just win a championship, he announced himself to the world as a player who could alter the course of a game with nothing more than his presence, his mind, and his heart.
But even as he basked in triumph, Magic knew the next chapter would be far more challenging. College basketball had given him fame, yes, but it had also introduced him to pressures he had never encountered before. Intense media scrutiny, national expectations, and the constant comparisons to Larry Bird, a rival whose shadow would follow him for years. Magic understood that talent alone would no longer suffice. Now, strategy, mental strength, and emotional resilience would define his journey. Outside the court, Magic's life at Michigan State reflected the same mix of brilliance and challenge that marked his early years. He was beloved by teammates, admired by fans, and respected by coaches. Yet, he faced moments of personal doubt, fatigue, and the constant weight of expectation. The boy who had once dribbled alone in Lansing now carried the hopes of an entire school, a state, and eventually a nation. Magic had to learn quickly that leadership is as much about managing pressure as it is about celebrating victories. In those formative college years, Magic also began to refine the qualities that would define his professional career. He learned the importance of mentorship from coaches, teammates, and even rivals. He learned to read not just the game, but the people around him, to anticipate not just plays, but reactions, and to turn competition into opportunity. And perhaps most importantly, he learned that greatness is never static. Talent can open doors, but character
courage and vision determine who walks through them successfully. By the time the NCAA tournament concluded, Magic Johnson was no longer just a promising player. He was a phenomenon whose story had captured the imagination of basketball fans everywhere. Scouts and executives spoke in hushed, reverent tones about the young man who could seemingly see the future on the court, whose leadership transformed ordinary players into legends, whose optimism and charisma left an indelible mark on everyone he encountered. Magic had set the stage for the next leap, the NBA. And yet, even as the applause echoed and the confetti settled, Magic Johnson knew the real test was still ahead. The NBA would be faster, tougher, and unforgiving. Success would no longer be measured by state championships or college accolades. It would be measured by resilience, endurance, and the ability to thrive under the scrutiny of the entire world. The stakes had never been higher, and Magic had to prepare not just his body, but his mind and spirit for the challenges that awaited. He thought he was ready for the spotlight. He believed his talent would carry him, but the NBA would demand more. More than skill, more than vision, more than energy. It would test his heart, his courage, and the very essence of what he understood to be strength. And in the years to come, Magic Johnson would discover that true strength is often revealed not in moments of triumph, but in moments of crisis. Moments that would challenge him, define him, and ultimately immortalize him.
Magic Johnson had dazzled in college and conquered the national stage. But the next challenge would be far greater, stepping into the NBA, where legends were made or broken, and where the pressures of expectation could either lift a man to greatness or crush him entirely. The spring of 1979 was a turning point, not just for Magic Johnson, but for the entire world of basketball. After dazzling fans and critics alike at Michigan State, Magic faced the moment every aspiring player dreams of: the NBA draft. The Los Angeles Lakers, a team with a storied history but desperate for new energy, had the first pick. And when the announcement came that Earvin "Magic" Johnson Jr. would join their roster, it sent ripples through the league. The boy from Lansing, who once played barefoot on cracked neighborhood courts, was about to step onto the biggest stage imaginable. Magic arrived in Los Angeles as a 20-year-old rookie, brimming with confidence, vision, and the kind of infectious energy that would soon define an era. Yet despite his remarkable talent, the NBA was an entirely different world. The arenas were louder, the players bigger, faster, and stronger, and the scrutiny more intense than anything he had ever experienced. Rookie life was a test of endurance, focus, and humility. Magic could have been intimidated. After all, he was stepping into a league of legends, sharing locker rooms with players whose names were already etched in history. But he was Magic Johnson, and doubt was never part of his vocabulary. From the very first practices, it became clear that Magic was no ordinary rookie. Coaches and teammates watched in awe as he demonstrated a combination of skill, intuition, and court awareness rarely seen in a player of any age. He could anticipate passes before they were even attempted, manipulate defenders without breaking stride, and make teammates around him better simply by being on the floor. His talent was obvious, but what stunned observers most was his confidence under pressure. Magic didn't just play the game, he elevated it. His rookie season began with high expectations, yet few could predict just how impactful he would be. The Lakers had already built a strong roster, led by the towering presence of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But when tragedy struck, Kareem was sidelined with injury during the 1980 NBA Finals. The stage was set for a moment that would define Magic's early career. In Game 6 against the Philadelphia 76ers, the Lakers were facing elimination. The pressure was monumental. Most rookies would have crumbled. Most seasoned players would have faltered. But Magic Johnson, he thrived. In a performance that would become the stuff of legend, Magic stepped in at center, a position he had never played professionally. Tall, lanky, and only 20 years old, he faced one of the league's most formidable opponents. Yet he played with a calm, almost mystical precision. He scored, passed, and defended with a confidence that seemed impossible for someone so young. His talent was obvious, but what stunned observers most was his confidence under pressure. Magic didn't just play the game, he elevated it. His rookie season began with high expectations, yet few could predict just how impactful he would be. The Lakers had already built a strong roster, led by the towering presence of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But when tragedy struck,
Kareem was sidelined with injury during the 1980 NBA Finals, the stage was set for a moment that would define Magic's early career. In Game 6 against the Philadelphia 76ers, the Lakers were facing elimination. The pressure was monumental. Most rookies would have crumbled. Most seasoned players would have faltered. But Magic Johnson? He thrived.
The moment was awe-inspiring, not just for the triumph, but for what it revealed about the boy from Lansing. Magic Johnson had the rare ability to rise to challenges that would have crushed others. He didn't just adapt, he transformed adversity into opportunity, pressure into performance, and doubt into a showcase of brilliance. Observers called it pure magic, and it was more than a nickname. It was a statement of fact. The league had seen talent before, but Magic's combination of skill, vision, and charisma was unprecedented. Off the court, Magic's rookie year was a whirlwind of attention, fame, and adjustment. Suddenly, he was no longer just a young man chasing his dreams. He was a symbol of hope and inspiration. Fans adored him. Journalists dissected his every move, and the city of Los Angeles embraced him as their new hero. Yet, for all the external praise, Magic remained grounded. He understood that fame was fleeting and that true greatness required focus, humility, and an unyielding commitment to growth. Even as Magic celebrated his early success, he faced challenges that tested his character and resilience. The media spotlight was relentless, with critics eager to find flaws and rivals determined to expose weaknesses. The expectations of teammates, coaches, and fans were immense, and every game became a test not just of ability, but of mental strength. Magic responded with grace, humor, and determination, demonstrating a maturity beyond his years. He was learning, fast, that the NBA demanded more than talent. It demanded leadership, vision, and the courage to carry a team through both triumph and adversity. The rookie season also revealed a deeper side of Magic's game, his ability to elevate others. Unlike many stars who dominate with individual brilliance, Magic played with a rare selflessness. He didn't just score points, he created opportunities, set up teammates for success, and transformed ordinary plays into moments of beauty. His style wasn't just about winning. It was about inspiring everyone around him to perform at their best. This approach would become the hallmark of his career, the essence of what made him not just a great player, but a revolutionary figure in basketball history. By the end of that first season, Magic Johnson had done more than just prove himself as a rookie. He had changed the way people thought about the game. The NBA had seen stars before, but few had the combination of skill, vision, charisma, and leadership that Magic displayed. He had shown the world that greatness is measured not only by statistics, but by influence, inspiration, and the ability to elevate everyone around you. And yet, as thrilling as his rookie year had been, Magic knew this was only the beginning. The spotlight was brighter, the competition fiercer, and the stakes higher than ever. He would face new challenges, rivalries, and obstacles that no championship could prepare him for. Every pass, every play, every decision would test not only his talent, but his resilience and character.
He thought winning a championship as a rookie was the pinnacle, but destiny had far bigger tests in store, challenges that would reveal the deepest measures of his strength and redefine what it meant to be not just a great player, but a great man. Magic Johnson had conquered the rookie stage and claimed a championship, dazzling the world with his skill and leadership. But the real story was only beginning. The Showtime era was about to unfold, a period that would electrify fans, test friendships, and cement his place in history. And it all started with a style of basketball no one had ever seen before. The early 1980s marked a transformation not just for Magic Johnson, but for the entire NBA. When he stepped onto the court with the Los Angeles Lakers, it wasn't just a game, it was the birth of an era. The team, eager to shed the shadows of past seasons and embrace a new, exhilarating identity, found in Magic the spark they had long sought.
His arrival ushered in what would soon be known as the Showtime Lakers, a style of basketball defined by speed, flair, and unrelenting creativity. Magic's presence on the court was electrifying. Unlike traditional stars who dominated with size or brute strength, he ruled with vision, intuition, and an unmatched understanding of rhythm and timing. Every possession became an opportunity for artistry. His passes, no matter how improbable, often landed perfectly in the hands of teammates. He could orchestrate fast breaks with a single glance, turning defense into offense in a blink. Fans quickly realized they weren't just watching basketball, they were witnessing a performance that celebrated imagination, teamwork, and joy. The Showtime era was more than just Magic Johnson's brilliance. It was a revolution that required collaboration and harmony. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the towering center with a skyhook that had already cemented him as a legend, was the perfect counterpart to Magic's exuberance. Their relationship wasn't always simple. Their personalities were different, even at times clashing. Kareem was methodical, disciplined, and cerebral, while Magic thrived on instinct, energy, and charisma. But together, they created a dynamic synergy. Kareem anchored the team with precision and reliability, while Magic orchestrated the game with creativity and unpredictability. The result was basketball unlike anything the world had ever seen. Magic's leadership style extended far beyond tactics. He had a rare ability to inspire his teammates, to elevate not just their performance, but their confidence, their belief in themselves, and their joy in the game. He celebrated every success, learned from every mistake, and made every player around him feel essential. In an era when individual stardom often overshadowed teamwork, Magic's unselfishness became a defining feature. He understood that greatness wasn't measured in points alone, but in the ability to create moments of brilliance that included everyone. The Lakers dominated the league throughout the early 1980s, their games a spectacle of speed, precision, and elegance. Magic's name became synonymous with excitement, hope, and relentless optimism. He turned every arena into a stage, every play into a story, every pass into a statement. Opposing teams struggled to keep pace not just with his talent, but with the energy and rhythm he brought to the game. Fans didn't just watch him play, they felt the game differently through him.
Yet, the Showtime era wasn't without its challenges. The NBA, still rooted in tradition, often questioned the sustainability of Magic's style. Critics doubted that fast breaks, flashy passes, and instinctive plays could translate into championships. Opponents studied him, seeking weaknesses, attempting to disrupt his rhythm. Injuries, rivalries, and the relentless pressure of expectation tested Magic repeatedly. But he met every challenge with the same combination of skill and mindset that had defined his rookie season. Where others saw obstacles, he saw opportunity. Magic's relationship with Kareem was particularly emblematic of the era's challenges and triumphs. Their bond was both professional and deeply personal. Kareem, older and already an icon, sometimes questioned Magic's unorthodox approach. Magic, young and energetic, pushed boundaries. Conflicts arose, yes, but they were tempered with mutual respect and shared ambition. Together they learned to balance instinct with strategy, flair with discipline, and through this partnership, the Lakers didn't just win games, they redefined what team basketball could look like. Among the defining moments of the Showtime era were the NBA Finals battles against the Boston Celtics, led by Larry Bird. The rivalry that had begun in college now reached new heights on the professional stage. Magic and Bird became symbols of contrasting styles and personalities. Bird, stoic and meticulous, Magic, exuberant and spontaneous. Their duels weren't just games, they were narratives of strategy, emotion, and skill, captivating fans across the nation. Every game felt monumental, every play carried historical weight. And through it all, Magic shined, demonstrating that leadership, joy, and vision could overcome even the fiercest challenges. Off the court, Magic's charisma became equally powerful. He was more than a player, he was a cultural icon. Fans adored him for his style, his humor, and his generosity. Young players looked up to him, aspiring to emulate not just his game, but his approach to life. Media outlets showcased him as the embodiment of modern basketball, talented, intelligent, and deeply human.
Magic's influence extended beyond the arena. He became a symbol of optimism, possibility, and the idea that brilliance could be both exciting and grounded in values. Despite the success and fame, Magic remained acutely aware of life's impermanence and the challenges that lay ahead. The bright lights of Showtime could not shield him from the personal and professional trials that awaited. Yet it was precisely this awareness that fueled his resilience. He understood that true strength, the kind that lasts beyond trophies and accolades, required adaptability, focus, and courage. Every victory was a lesson, every loss a teacher. Magic's journey was a continuous dance between triumph and challenge, and the Showtime era, while dazzling, was only the beginning of a much deeper story. Through it all, one thing remained clear. Magic Johnson had transformed not just the Lakers or the NBA, but the very way basketball could be imagined. His style, energy, and leadership would leave an indelible mark on the sport, inspiring generations to come. Fans didn't just cheer for him, they believed in him. Young athletes saw possibility in every move. Magic had shown that greatness isn't defined solely by physical strength or skill, but by vision, creativity, and the ability to lift others along the way.
And yet, even in the midst of glory, the world was about to be reminded that life has tests far beyond the court. Success and triumph are never guaranteed. In the years ahead, Magic Johnson would face challenges that no basketball court could prepare him for. Challenges that would shake him to his core, redefine the meaning of strength, and reveal the resilience of his character in ways the world had never seen. Magic thought he had conquered the NBA, but the true measure of his greatness was not in championships, not in dazzling plays, not even in fame. It would be measured in how he faced the unimaginable, how he carried himself when everything he had built seemed at risk. And as the Showtime Lakers danced across the court, thrilling the world, no one knew that the next chapter, one of shock, fear, and profound courage, was waiting just around the corner. Magic Johnson had dazzled the world, creating the legendary Showtime era and redefining basketball itself. But just as the bright lights shone brightest, a shadow was approaching, one that would challenge not his talent, but the very essence of his strength and resilience. By the early 1990s, Magic Johnson had become more than just a basketball player. He was a legend, a symbol of hope and inspiration, a man whose energy and optimism seemed to light up every room he entered. The Showtime Lakers had left an indelible mark on the NBA, and Magic's charisma extended far beyond the court. Fans adored him. Teammates trusted him implicitly. Aspiring players around the world sought to emulate him. And yet, despite all the applause and accolades, life was about to present a challenge that would test Magic in ways basketball never had. In November 1991, the world stopped. Magic Johnson, the boy from Lansing who had conquered high school gyms, college arenas, and the NBA Finals, revealed that he had tested positive for HIV. The news was shocking, not just for basketball fans, but for the entire public. At that time, HIV carried with it fear, stigma, and misunderstanding. People didn't yet fully understand the virus, and many responded with alarm and avoidance. For Magic, a man whose life had been defined by connection, teamwork, and trust, the diagnosis was both deeply personal and publicly monumental. Magic's announcement was courageous, but it was far from easy. He knew that the world would judge, speculate, and question, yet he chose transparency, refusing to hide from the challenge. Standing before cameras and reporters, he spoke not just as a superstar, but as a human being confronting an unexpected reality. His words carried a quiet strength, a reminder that courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the decision to face life honestly, even when the consequences are unimaginable.
The immediate impact on his career was profound. Magic stepped away from professional basketball, leaving fans, teammates, and the NBA itself stunned. He was only 32, in the prime of his athletic abilities, yet circumstances beyond his control forced him to confront a new reality. For many, it was difficult to reconcile the image of the unstoppable Magic Johnson with a man facing a serious health challenge. But Magic himself approached the situation with the same clarity and vision that had defined his life on the court. While some expected despair, Magic demonstrated resilience.
He channeled his energy into advocacy, education, and philanthropy, determined to turn personal adversity into public awareness. He became a spokesperson for HIV prevention, using his platform to educate millions about the virus, challenge stigma, and promote understanding. In doing so, he transformed personal tragedy into a lesson of courage and responsibility. Magic's influence extended far beyond basketball. He became a beacon of hope and knowledge at a time when fear and misinformation dominated the conversation. The public reaction was complex. Fans were supportive, yet others reacted with fear or ignorance. Some wondered whether Magic could ever return to the game. Others questioned his health, his strength, and his future. And through it all, Magic remained unwavering. He continued to demonstrate that true strength isn't measured in points or trophies, but in resilience, honesty, and the courage to continue moving forward despite uncertainty. This period of Magic's life revealed a side of him that few had seen before. On the surface, he remained charismatic and confident. Behind the scenes, he grappled with uncertainty, vulnerability, and the fear of the unknown. He faced questions about his career, relationships, and identity, questions that demanded more than physical skill to answer. Magic's response wasn't to retreat or surrender. Instead, he leaned into the challenge, showing the world that emotional and mental strength could surpass any physical limitation. Amid the personal and public scrutiny, Magic's relationships were tested. Friends, teammates, and family were forced to navigate new realities alongside him. Some offered unwavering support, others struggled with fear and confusion. Yet through it all, Magic maintained his signature optimism, finding ways to inspire, educate, and uplift even in the darkest moments. He refused to be defined solely by illness, asserting that his identity as a father, husband, teammate, and human being was broader than any diagnosis. And yet, the personal challenges were real. Magic confronted doubts, health concerns, and the uncertainty of what lay ahead. The world watched, wondering if he would ever return to the game, if he could continue to inspire, if he could maintain the same level of energy and optimism that had defined his life. Magic's response, as always, was to persist. He refused to allow circumstance to dictate his legacy. Instead, he redefined it, proving that the human spirit can triumph in ways that transcend physical ability.
In the months following the announcement, Magic began to explore new ways to remain connected to basketball. He mentored younger players, participated in public events, and maintained a presence in the sport he loved. He realized that influence is not always measured by personal performance. Sometimes it is measured by the ability to guide, inspire, and teach others. His story became a lesson not just in resilience, but in reinvention, in discovering new ways to lead and impact the world even when life changes the rules. This period also revealed the emotional depth of Magic Johnson's character. Fans and critics alike could see that behind the humor, charm, and charisma was a man confronting profound challenges with grace. He showed that strength is multidimensional, encompassing physical skill, emotional resilience, and moral courage. And as the world absorbed his message, it became clear that Magic Johnson's legacy was no longer confined to the basketball court. It extended into the hearts and minds of millions who witnessed his courage and learned from his example. Magic thought the world saw him as invincible, but in facing HIV, he discovered a new kind of strength, one that demanded humility, patience, and a willingness to redefine identity and purpose. The tests ahead would be different from anything he had faced on the court, yet they were no less defining. And through it all, Magic's light continued to shine, illuminating a path for others to follow, inspiring hope where fear might otherwise have prevailed. He had dazzled the NBA, thrilled the world with Showtime, and captivated fans with his charisma. Yet now, the true measure of his greatness would be revealed, not by championships or points, but by courage, resilience, and the ability to turn personal tragedy into universal inspiration. Magic Johnson had faced one of life's most shocking challenges, revealing a side of strength no one had seen before. But this was not the end. The world would soon witness a remarkable comeback, one that would redefine his legacy and show that true strength is as much about the heart and mind as it is about talent. The world had watched Magic Johnson rise from a small Michigan neighborhood to NBA superstardom, only to be shocked by news that no one saw coming. Yet even in the face of HIV, even amid fear, doubt, and uncertainty, Magic refused to let life define him. He knew that true greatness was not measured by circumstance, but by resilience, courage, and the ability to create meaning in the most challenging times. And so, with characteristic optimism and determination, he began a journey of reinvention. Magic's first steps were cautious but deliberate. He returned to public life, taking on roles that allowed him to remain connected to basketball while educating and inspiring others. He appeared in exhibitions, served as a mentor to younger players, and became a highly visible advocate for HIV awareness. Through these efforts, he demonstrated a remarkable ability to transform personal adversity into public leadership. Every public appearance, every interview, and every speech became a lesson in courage, hope, and the transformative power of the human spirit.
And then came the moment the world had been waiting for, the NBA All-Star Game of 1992. Magic Johnson returned to the court, not as a full-time player, but as a symbol of resilience, skill, and inspiration. When he stepped onto the hardwood, the arena erupted. Fans knew they were witnessing more than a game. They were witnessing history, a testament to the enduring power of hope and determination. Magic's performance was remarkable. He moved with the same energy, intuition, and creativity that had defined his career. But the true magic wasn't just in his skills. It was in what he represented, a man who refused to let fear dictate his story. The All-Star Game marked the beginning of a broader reinvention. Magic explored new avenues, from entrepreneurship to media, leveraging his fame and insight to influence the world in ways far beyond basketball. He became a businessman, investor, and advocate, demonstrating that the skills that make someone exceptional on the court, vision, strategy, leadership, can be applied to life in extraordinary ways. Magic's reinvention was a powerful reminder that identity is never fixed. It can evolve, expand, and thrive even after profound challenges. Yet the true emotional triumph was not in accolades or appearances. It was in the courage to redefine what it meant to be strong. Magic's story showed that strength is not simply physical prowess or championship rings. True strength is the ability to confront fear, to face uncertainty with honesty, and to use one's influence to make a difference. Through his journey, Magic taught millions that adversity can be transformed into opportunity, and that courage and vision can shine brighter than fame or talent alone. Magic also returned briefly to the NBA in 1996, stepping in to play for the Lakers in a few regular season games. While it was not a full comeback, it was a testament to his enduring skill, determination, and love for the game. Fans were reminded that even in the face of personal challenges, passion and dedication can defy expectation. Magic's presence on the court was more than symbolic. It was a reaffirmation of everything he had achieved and the spirit he continued to embody. Beyond the hardwood, Magic's reinvention inspired countless others facing challenges of their own. He became a mentor, a public speaker, and an example of how to confront life's trials with courage, grace, and optimism. His story illuminated the universal truth that setbacks do not define a person. How one responds to them does. Magic's journey encouraged people not to measure themselves by limitations, but by resilience, vision, and the capacity to inspire others. In many ways, Magic Johnson's comeback transcended basketball. It became a story about human spirit, adaptability, and the enduring power of hope. He showed that even when life disrupts plans, challenges can be reframed, passions can be redirected, and influence can be expanded. Magic's reinvention was a reminder that legacy is not built solely on victories, but on courage, character, and the ability to lift others along the way.
And yet, even as he thrived in new ventures and inspired millions, Magic never lost his connection to the game that defined him. Basketball remained central to his identity,
a medium through which he could demonstrate leadership, vision, and creativity. The lessons he had learned from adversity informed the way he approached the sport, teaching younger generations about teamwork, resilience, and the joy of playing with heart and imagination. Magic Johnson's comeback story also revealed a profound truth about human potential. It's easy to celebrate triumphs when everything goes according to plan, but real greatness is revealed in how one responds to the unexpected. Magic faced the unimaginable, a life-altering diagnosis, public scrutiny, and a sudden interruption to his career. Yet he rose above it all. His actions illustrated that courage is as vital as talent, and that influence is measured by the positive impact one leaves on others. Through reinvention, Magic found new meaning, new challenges, and new avenues to inspire. He became a living testament to the idea that setbacks are not endpoints, but opportunities to redefine one's path. His life offered a powerful message. The human spirit can endure, adapt, and thrive, even when circumstances seem insurmountable. And for fans around the world, Magic Johnson's story became a beacon of hope, proof that life's greatest victories are not always scored on the court. As Magic continued to navigate his post-NBA life, he embodied the values that had always defined him: optimism, resilience, leadership, and an unwavering belief in the power of human potential. He inspired generations of athletes, entrepreneurs, and ordinary people alike to embrace challenges, cultivate vision, and lead with integrity. The boy from Lansing who once dribbled on neighborhood courts had transformed into a man whose influence reached far beyond the hardwood, leaving a legacy that would endure for decades. Magic thought his story was defined by championships and accolades, but the true measure of his life, his legacy, and his strength lay in courage, reinvention, and the ability to inspire hope, even in the face of life's most daunting challenges. And it is in this light, the triumph of spirit over circumstance, that Magic Johnson's story resonates far beyond basketball, offering lessons in resilience, vision, and the enduring power of human potential.
Magic Johnson had turned adversity into opportunity, reinvented himself, and inspired millions. Yet the final chapter of his story would reveal a deeper truth about legacy, strength, and the enduring magic of a life lived with courage and purpose. Magic Johnson's story is not measured merely by the points he scored, the championships he won, or the records he set. Those achievements were remarkable, yes, but they are only a part of a far deeper narrative, one that tells of courage, resilience, and the transformative power of human spirit. From Lansing to Los Angeles, from high school gyms to NBA arenas, and from the spotlight of Showtime to the shadows of personal crisis, Magic's journey has always been about something far greater than basketball. At its heart, his legacy is about strength, a strength that transcends the physical. Magic taught the world that true strength is as much about character, perseverance, and integrity as it is about skill or talent. He showed that the greatest victories are not always measured by trophies, but by the courage to face the unimaginable, the wisdom to lead with empathy, and the resilience to rise after life-altering challenges. Strength is revealed in moments when the world expects you to fall, and Magic's life offers countless examples of such moments. When fans reflect on Magic Johnson, they remember the dazzling passes, the unselfish plays, the ability to elevate everyone around him. They remember the Showtime Lakers, a team that changed the way basketball was played, a style that brought joy, excitement, and creativity to arenas across the country. But beyond the highlights and the applause lies a story that few can fully appreciate. A story of vulnerability met with courage, fear met with optimism, and adversity transformed into influence. Magic's HIV announcement in 1991 was a defining moment, not because it ended his career, but because it revealed the depth of his character. In a world that often equates strength with physical dominance or championship rings, Magic redefined it. He showed that courage is about confronting reality, advocating for awareness, and inspiring hope even when faced with uncertainty. By stepping forward publicly, he became a symbol not just of athletic greatness, but of human resilience.
teaching millions that setbacks do not define us, but how we respond to them does. His reinvention after leaving the NBA illustrates another dimension of his legacy. He became an entrepreneur, philanthropist, mentor, and advocate, proving that influence can extend far beyond the confines of a basketball court. He invested in communities, nurtured new talent, and spoke out on issues that mattered, using his platform to shape a world that stretched well beyond sports. In doing so, he reminded the world that greatness is not static. It is adaptable, evolving, and measured by impact as much as accomplishment. Perhaps what is most inspiring about Magic Johnson is his ability to turn joy, vision, and connection into a lifelong mission. On the court, he transformed games into performances that thrilled audiences and inspired teammates. Off the court, he transformed challenges into lessons, influence into advocacy, and obstacles into opportunities. Every chapter of his life carries a subtle but powerful message that vision, character, and perseverance are as vital to success as talent, and that the heart of greatness lies in lifting others along the way.